How did we get there? To tell us is the CEO of the BEPSA. We're talking about Gareth Pritchard. Gareth, thank you very much for joining us, and I know that you're out in our Cape Town studios. Welcome.
Thank you, Leanne.
Gareth, what exactly is offshoring? I mean, let's get down to the basics firstly.
It's quite simple. You have countries across the globe, almost every country. We specifically work with the UK. They decide that offshore is a better option for them to do business, mostly because of cost, but also because of quality. So offshoring is all about moving business from the local market to a foreign market. And in our case, it's mainly UK to South Africa.
Excellent. Why? Why this interest in South Africa?
Well, I think listen to your voice, and listen to my voice. We have slight differences in our accents, but it's basically we have the same accent. You understand me, I understand you. There's a very strong cultural affinity between South Africans and the UK, and Australia and the US, by the way, but mainly the UK again. And we're playing on that cultural affinity and the ease of doing business together. Yeah. Coupled with the fact that the time zone is almost the same. We're 1 hour away now from the UK, and all that just makes doing business with South Africa so easy.
Yeah. Let's also talk about business processing and outsourcing. What exactly is that?
Well, let's take an example. One of our biggest clients down here at the moment would be a telco company in the UK. T-Mobile, for example. Now, we all know if we have trouble with our telephones, we have to phone into a call center, and that call center in this case is based in South Africa, in Cape Town. So what happens is if I have a problem with my phone in the UK, I actually then dial a UK number, I end up in Cape Town, and I ask somebody how the problem can be solved, and that problem is solved by somebody in Cape Town. So that person is given 2 months to 3 months training. He is familiar with the product, which is a telephone, and he is familiar with the area where the person is phoned from. He knows what's going on in the UK. And really, that's a simple view of business processing. It's a pretty fancy word for quite a simple process, really.
So when someone in Europe call their service provider for information, like you say, they may just be routed to a South African call center, for example. So I mean, this is good business.
It's huge business. Last year we created 3,000 new jobs, which is in the Western Cape alone. And so if this momentum keeps going, there's no reason why it shouldn't. Then we're talking about massive job creation opportunities across the country. The three main locations being Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Durban. And that's wonderful news for the country at the moment. We need every job, obviously, that's going, and it's a great job to be doing. It's hard work, but it's very rewarding. If you work hard, you can actually have a very, very sensible and interesting career path, and there's good money to be earned. So it's a win-win all round.
Yeah. How did we get into this space? And obviously you're talking about this as a fantastic boost for the economy regarding jobs, etc. But how did we get here?
Well, it all started in the 90s, and the first company I was involved in, actually the first BPO, business process outsourcing company to come to South Africa was Lufthansa from Germany, and then there were trickles of interest over the years, but what we needed actually was a very strong support from a government level, a national level, and a provincial level in the Western Cape, which basically provoked and motivated interest from abroad, so much so that we started attracting big brands. And the biggest brand at the moment would be Amazon. I think that's the biggest global brand that's come to South African shores. And once you start getting that sort of interest with those sort of brands, then it all becomes a question of really success breeding success. So your Amazons of this world made others prick up their ears and look at South Africa seriously as an offshore location. Yeah. And I think the help that you get from the DTI with incentives has probably been the icing on the cake as far as costs are concerned, because the DTI give a very substantial support to any company that decides to end up here.
Yeah.
And it really is now just a question of countries, especially the UK, saying, well, if it's no longer India, it's no longer Philippines, what other options are there geographically? And we're definitely straight away after the Indias and the Philippines of this world, we're up there competing with the rest of the world.
That's fantastic news, because that was going to be my next question to you. I mean, obviously this is a massively growing industry for South Africa, and we are competing with the likes of India. So you're saying that we sort of not quite taking preference over India, but there is a shift.
Definitely a shift, especially in the area that we're focusing on. So the numbers in India are massive. We will never compete with certain back office processes, but in the voice arena, which is, listen again to your voice, my voice, where it's that's what we're focusing on. Whereas the Indian, Philippine voice is not as palatable to the UK ear.
Yeah.
And there I'd say we'd probably got an advantage definitely over India and more over the Philippines as well. So much so that you're seeing business move from India to South Africa, and you'll soon be hearing of news later this year of Philippine jobs coming to South Africa as well, which is really encouraging.
That is fantastic news. Thank you so much, Gareth, for talking to us this morning. I'm sure enlightening us on a lot of things that none of us knew. So Gareth Pritchard is the acting CEO of the Business Process Enabling South Africa. Big business we're talking about.